Griffin in the hall came out of the dungeon looking.
And we are live. Town Team Mortgage, powered by Leader One, NMLS number 12007. Zach Schwartz here in the studio, partnered up with the one and only Barry Sterner.
I'm in the Townstone Financial Studio.
Okay, that's actually a better studio.
Who bought that for us, by the way?
It's got more square footage. I don't know. How did you? You didn't
Who
buy
bought that
that?
sign?
You didn't buy it?
I never bought it. Who bought it? It either was Chris or UWM or Rocket.
Yeah, we got that big
I can't
golden
remember.
eagle we tossed for scrap metal from Rocket. Sorry, Rocket. But as I was waking up this morning, I got a text, or not a text, an email from Barry, which is very unusual. It's very short and to the point. And you said 10-year down to 3.75. And to our viewers,
That's my prediction.
What do we mean by the 10-year? I just brought it up here. We've been right above 4.2. Here it says 42.39, but that's basically a 4.2% yield. And you have not made a prediction like that in quite a while.
How can I see that? Are we on Facebook, on YouTube? What's the easiest way I can see it?
We're on Facebook.
Facebook?
Yeah.
Why do I think that? Because if you draw a trend line, I'm going to go on. I'm going to go on whatever the heck it's called. You're on CNBC, aren't you? Aren't you pulling that from CNBC?
That I'm pulling just from like MSN. The MSN. I can bring up the CNBC chart.
It's all right. I'm going to get on CNBC real quick, and I'll tell you exactly.
Yeah, obviously, I can't 10-year Treasury CNBC 4.235 is the latest.
Yeah,
they want me to
chart real quick.
Subscribe for $125. No, thank you.
You should subscribe and give them your money.
No, thank you. I'll hold on to my money.
Let me get the bonds. The 10-year on here.
So it's not the lows for the year.
So you can kind of take a line.
Well, I'm looking at I'm looking at the 1 year, and basically that
if you go all the way back, or look at the 10-year, obviously, or you're looking at 1 year, that's fine.
I'm looking 1 year of the 10-year.
Go back in between September and October.
Okay.
So that's the low part over there, which is 3.74. You can take a trend line all the way from there, all the way to the right to about, what was the date? To 2/28, to the 28th. We're kind of breaking down there. And if we can get, if we can close on, let's just call it under 4.2 and have a close under 2.2, like at the end of the day, close under 4.2, the next stop's going to be 4%. I mean, that's where we're going to go.
And then
kind of, I mean, it looks like a what's the bell called that used to have at school? The
bell curve.
Bell curve. You see at the very top there. You know, we had our high of almost at 4.78 in January, and now we're heading down. So that's what I think's going to happen, and I think the current administration in Washington wants it to happen.
I mean, it's correlating with not great news for the stock market. It's not great GDP numbers, employment numbers, but the benefit of that stuff not being great is we're seeing lower mortgage rates. And if you're right, and that 10-year,
and I usually am,
and that 10-year,
I'm not going to be right. I'm not saying this is going to happen tomorrow.
No.
I mean, this may not happen This may not happen till May, but
or not at all.
It looks that way.
But if we see the 10-year down at 3.75,
We're
we're gonna
last time
see
we were in the low
rates.
sixes to high fives. Yeah, low sixes to high fives.
I was even gonna say yeah, mid sixes. Because at least right now, single family houses, I'm in the high sixes, and condos, I'm in the low sevens. Not great
Mhm.
equity, maybe 80 LTV, but
Be a
it
significant push down.
but that could be very good news for those of you with a rate that starts with a 7 or maybe an 8, um, if that comes to pass. Now the other thing you mentioned,
It's Maggie
now
Wong's birthday. Happy
it
birthday,
is
Maggie Wong.
happy birthday, Maggie.
Yeah.
This is a great time to get into the mortgage business. Because as Warren Buffett
Why?
says,
Tell us
when
why.
other people are scared, that's when you go in. And the last few years have been rough on the mortgage industry and honestly real estate in general. And we've seen individuals, entire companies fold. um, Banks cut their entire mortgage lending arm, um, just get out of the business completely. Um, so the time is, so there's less competition now than there has been in probably since I started doing this. And two, it's not something that you can just wake up one day, say, I want to be in the mortgage business, and just day two be originating loans. You've got to get licensed. You have to kind of know what you're doing. And
You have to kind of know what you're doing, or you do have to know what you're doing.
well, based on some of those other people, you know,
Um,
we may have mentioned some of those companies earlier in the podcast. Um, there you only kind of need to know what you're doing. We really know what we're doing. Um, and we'd be happy to take somebody or multiple people on, train you, so you are here and ready to hit the ground running when that spigot turns on, because it is going to be more than you and I can handle alone. And um rather pass people that you know volume on to an unknown entity. I want everyone that works or comes to the town team looking for advice and help, to get the absolute best help that they can get. um
and we got good numbers today. February home sales jumped. Inventory at the end of February was 1.24 million units. That's an increase of 17% from last year, which anyone who's been listening to us, there was a lack of inventory last year. So obviously people are starting to put their houses up for sale. The median price of homes sold in February was 398,000. That's up 3.8%. That's not good. Sales were only higher annually in the higher price category above 750, but sales of previous owned homes in February rose 4.2% from January's 4.26. So in January they sold 4.26 million units in January, and it was 4.2% higher in February. I don't know what the number was. That makes no sense. Doesn't show what the number was. But anyway, the bottom line is it was better. They're right now. Inventory at the end of February was a 3.5 month supply, 3.5 month supply at the current sales price. A 6 month supply is considered balanced between buyer and seller. So, we're moving towards that number. It's not bad. First time home buyers edged back into the market, making up 31% of February sales compared to 26% the year before. All cash sales, however, remained relatively steady at 32% of sales. I mean, that's the greatest change that I've seen.
Yeah.
Are the cash purchases.
Sure.
Yeah.
And you know, we were supposed to go live at 1 o'clock. I'm grateful you were late because I actually just had a purchase contract come in at 1 o'clock. So I was able to start putting that together, um, you know, wrap my arms around it. And these are the things that expert loan officers like ourselves catch is we read the contract. So my client, it looked, you know, I was reading the contract. He put an offer in 2 weeks ago and the seller just accepted today. So they had a closing date of 4/8, 2 weeks away.
Yeah.
So the right out of the gate, he's in attorney review. I said, hey, this was not modified, you know, when he put the purchase offer in, you know, over 2 weeks ago, that was a very realistic closing date. And now it's not. I can do it, you know, in less than 4 weeks, you know, but let's update that to April, you know, 17th or 18th. And we'll be hunky dory, as David Bowie says.
Hunky dory.
Yeah. Now let's take oh, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
what?
I was going to say, let's take a look at the stock market, but first, a little personal anecdote. How was the weather by you yesterday? Were you caught in any of that storminess?
Didn't happen till overnight here.
So I was out maybe about 5:20 going to pick up
Yeah.
Cindy. Um, she works at a medical office where they keep vaccines in a freezer, and the temperature alert as soon as I got there was like going off, so she had to like wait 15 minutes to make sure that, you know, the vaccines weren't going to spoil. During those 15 minutes it went from like sunny day to pitch black, started raining, started hailing. um Weather just turned on a dime there. That's living in Chicago. But let's see how our S&P 500 is doing today. Um,
We are at 56.50 on the
I
S&P.
got 56.62, but you know that.
Well, I'm watching it live. You might be looking at the futures. I'm looking at the SPX. So anyway, I mean, it
I have
looks
the
like,
INX, but yeah,
I
that's
don't
not
know,
looking
I don't know if
good.
we've hit the bottom
Dow
yet, but
Dow's a little bit down. I mean, you know, my financial planner, Barry Kaufman, I'll plug him, good friend of mine. Um, he basically had like a all hands on deck meeting with all of his clients to talk them off the ledge. I skipped it because I said, I don't care. You don't need to talk me off the ledge because I'm not you know, I'm not panic selling, you know.
listen, this is the thing. I think it's kind of, I mean, do I like that it went down? Absolutely not. But on the 19th of February, we hit an all-time high. Okay, whether you want to look, I'm looking at the S&P, which is SPX. We hit an all-time high of 61.47. Okay, and you know today, and then we went down all the way to just about 5,500. So we almost went down 700 points in the S&P 500 very, very quickly, straight down.
with a
Is
little
that
bumps.
unsettled? That's unsettling because I think most people who have a 401k plan or any retirement plan would have said, hey, I got my statement in January, right, for fourth quarter 2024, and my 401k plan was at the highest it's ever been, you know, since I've been in the plan. I would suspect that's what most people said, right? I mean, that's just
Right,
because
right.
we were at the highs. So you know, it's
But people forget it's like back in
everything
2022,
can't go straight up, I guess is what I'm saying. So yeah,
2022, we were 35, 80, 30, back in even as recent as October 23, 4,200. So there's so many gains
Oh
built
yeah, we've
in
gone, you're
over the
100% right.
years
We have gone,
that this
I'm
is
gonna put the
kind of
daily on here for the last year real quick.
like year to
My,
date is bad, but for a whole year, if you look at where we were April of last year,
right. I mean, in
49.
August, in August, the S&P was under 5,200. So we went from August, here's the date. The low from August 5th, okay, the S&P 500 was at the low that day
5402.
was 5302 was the XPX.
Oh,
So whatever. Basically we went up 1,000 points if you want to get close to that, okay? 51 all the way to 61. We went up 1,000 points August, September, October, November, December, January, February in 7 months. I mean that's an
but it's
incredible
like
run.
if you look
Yeah.
at the longer chart as I zoom out to, when this thing started in 1982,
Hmm.
you zoom out, this drop is truly a drop in the bucket,
Correct.
using the word drop in multiple contexts.
And we have had, since the pandemic with all the money that's put out there, the consumer's been spending and spending and spending and spending. You
Ooh,
know,
I just see the Celtics were sold for
$6.1
$6.1
billion,
billion.
and the highest
Um,
for a sports franchise ever. Is that crazy?
I mean, yeah, I mean it is crazy. I don't understand.
Well, there's only so many sports franchises, and now they're letting
Is NBA doing one of those like TV deals where it's
they
like its
already
own?
have NBA and NFL already have the two best TV deals. Absolutely. And don't forget the NBA is worldwide. They're because all
Yeah,
their players are all from all over the world, so
yeah.
they have deals in every country. That's what they have. That's so great. But I mean, there's a limited amount of sports teams, obviously, and these guys and these equity partners now are able to buy pieces and whole pieces of the NBA and the NFL. So you're going to see these individual owners,
I mean, how much of this do you think
going out the
is
door.
how much is this do you think a value play versus like a girlfriend play, or like I get a good
I mean,
like
most of these guys are
bragging
the,
rights, a
right. The guy
billionaire
who bought the
bragging rights.
Celtics, the guy who bought the Celtics, the lead equity partner there, has been a Celtics fan since he was born. So, that's what he said.
Yeah.
Well,
So
I mean, Matt Ishba bought the Phoenix Suns for an ungodly amount. I think it was 4 billion or something like that, and now the Celtics have gone for 2 billion more. I can't remember what Matt Ishba bought. I'm not going to look it up, but
yeah.
this is definitely higher than what the Phoenix Suns went for last year. We talk about Matt Ishba because he owns UWM,
He's
big
also a
mortgage
more
company.
yeah,
So
he's a mortgage guy. He's a mortgage guy.
yeah.
Um let's see what else I want to talk about today.
Well, let's talk
Ba.
about the housing market and the mortgage market. I mean, there's some signs that things are getting better. I don't, I don't know if it's going to happen tomorrow, but there's definitely some signs. There's definitely a pickup in activity throughout the country. There's no doubt
Oh,
about that.
absolutely. Oh, here's what I wanted to do is I wanted to show people all of the tools. So we're giving you uh townteammortgage.com. So basically you can go to townteammortgage.com here. Um you've got you can text me, you can text Barry, and we can call you back. There's a main line for us. Um, but here's the cool thing. You could fill out a free consultation request, um, and one of us will reach out to you. You can also we've partnered with HomeBot, which is a company that you don't even have to worry about, but you could type in your address. Let's just say here's, where I grew up as a kid.
HomeBot tells you current housing, gives you current housing values.
And it gives you the value of your house. It says what you've
An
paid,
estimate, obviously.
national trends, how much equity you've got, revenue for a potential Airbnb. And then you could also, you could also go,
make it up as you go along.
no, you
I'm
can
actually
also,
watching.
you
I'm
can
watching
go
you now on YouTube.
say,
whatever
I
it's
want to
called.
go, I want to buy a house in Chicago. You check that. And that went away. There we go.
Can you do historical housing prices on there, like 3 years ago, 4 years ago? Does it show like a trend line on any of those? Like put the address in and see if there's any like trends.
No, well, for
And the only
this,
reason I say that is
if
because
you're looking in Chicago, all you have to do is you plug your email address in, and then you'll get access to all of these listings. And yes, those trends, how long it could take to buy. Here's what people are paying for homes in your budget, bedrooms, bathrooms, square feet. Like, these say locked, but that's just literally just because you have to plug in your email address, because we are paying for this, and I'm not going to pay for some AI that's just gonna, go on there. But yeah, townteammortgage.com. That's where you're gonna get a free consultation, one-on-one with Barry and myself, Um, I think it's great. So speaking of home buying, that's your first step, because unless you are one of those lucky people like Matt Ishbia, there's a suitcase full of cash and you can buy a property with cash. You need a mortgage, and you need to know what you are going to qualify for on the mortgage, and you should want a mortgage company that is going to hold your hand every step of the way. So we will consult with you, discuss your scenario. What are we looking to do? Do a pre-qualification, soft credit pull, not
and
even
we'll
a
call
hard.
you every day, every hour, and just keep bothering you. No?
As much as you
Maybe.
want. We've got in-house underwriting. So, so you can get fully pre-approved if you want. Now, it's a little bit of a hassle because you have to send me your 2 most recent pay stubs, and an underwriter reviews that, and
Yeah, but you can't
then
say that anymore because right
no, but then it's
now,
like a month
the
from now.
competition level, you have to do it. It's got to be done.
A month from
Yeah.
now, though, you get the property you want. I need your 2 most recent pay stubs. Well, the ones you just sent me, I don't. I stand behind all of the eligibility, because an underwriter doesn't decide whether or not you're going to get a loan. That is a computer system. And unless you lie to me about your salary and your job, if you're pre-approved, you're effectively approved. I'm sorry, because an underwriter is just verifying the data that's been plugged into Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac.
I mean, you're just updating your form,
But
your docs. That's all.
but
It's
yeah,
not
so we've now got the in-house underwriting. We've got more products than you can imagine under the sun. But so we have all the perks of a big company, with the benefit to you as a customer of the one-on-one Barry and Zach experience.
And what an
what more?
experience that is.
Yeah, and what more could you want? So yeah, Barry, anything else before we let people go for the week? Because I've got this purchase I gotta work on here.
Don't have anything
But
other
yeah,
than
if you want to get
if
into the
you're
mortgage
starting to,
business too, fill out that consultation, and
or you
say,
could just call us.
or
You can call us on
give
there
us a
too.
call. Because we'll help you. When I was, in my youth back in 2011, and I didn't know what I wanted to do, I got in touch with Barry Sterner, and we had a nice lunch together, and I was originating loans, 6 months later, basically, taught me the business, and ready to teach it to somebody else.
Well, we made you process first. That's
Well,
what we
that's what I'm
made everyone
saying.
do.
You start, you have to know how the building gets built before you become a master contractor. So, I learned the electrical, how to do the duct work, how to do basically
I think the message here for the end of this deal is that if you're thinking of buying a house, even though we think rates are going to go down every eighth of a point, every quarter of a point, with rates being higher than they have been, over the last 5 years,
but they're lower
obviously.
than they have been as well over the last 1 or 2 years. So
They're still up there, but what I'm getting at is have us run your credit. Let's take a look. I mean, if you're at a 690, if you're at a 710, even if you're at a 7, if you're in between the different um different barriers that are out there for credit scores, we can do different things with you to improve your credit scores, by 10, 15, 20 points, which will save you, an eighth of a point, sometimes a quarter of a point. Sometimes it'll help you qualify when you wouldn't qualify before. So if you're sitting there thinking about doing it and you're going to look this summer to buy something, now is the
start now,
time to get
right?
started. And I'm not saying that just because I want you to call, which I do
No,
want you to
but
call,
start the
but you
conversation
got to do
now.
now.
See
Yes.
what you're eligible for. Get into the HomeBot system because you think you have it good with Zillow or Redfin. No, this thing puts those sites to shame. So yeah, it's incredible. Townteammortgage.com. Call me 312-896-2114. Call Barry 312-896-2110. And just have a fabulous rest of your week, everybody. We'll talk to you next week.